Hello everyone. In this opportunity, we are going to talk about an interesting book that is called Creating 21st Century Teaching and Learning Environments. So, through this video, we are going to point out some important aspects, so I hope that you enjoy it.
The main purpose of this book is developing a plan for your school. This interesting book concerns with the orientation of actual schools to implement the use of new technologies in their teaching and learning environments. The book provides a systematic method for creating a plan that can help move your school from where it currently is to a place where education and technology innovation becomes part of the culture. In this book, the authors develop a very good method to implement education and technology in the 21st century schools. Thanks to their years of experience working with so many schools around the world. This book goes explaining this method step by step as it presents every chapter, so that, at the end, the readers can get an overview and proof of how to implement this method in the real school environment.
After reading this book, we were able to answer some important questions about teaching. For example, how can teachers develop a plan in school? And it is that everything we as teachers do should be centered on 21st century skills, tools, and the pedagogical approaches to promote them. Also, how has 21st century learning been defined in many ways? To answer this question, we know that there are many definitions of 21st century learning, but it doesn't matter because they all have in common a focus on preparing students to be active citizens in a diverse and technologically rich global society. Also, how can teachers facilitate technological change? And it is by directing attention to change theory. Also, what is a profile of the typical student in classroom? And to answer this question, we discovered that students are addicted to technology, and for that reason, they prefer to use technology to engage them with the academic content. Also, how may teachers break things down into manageable sections? And it is by understanding what tools we as teachers are going to use according to a student's level. And at least, but not less important, how can we make easy tools to gauge our readiness as well as the readiness of educational context?
Which is the most important information in this book? The most important information in this book is that your students can change the use of technology for having fun to the use of technology in student-centered, because this last one promotes 21st century learning. However, to promote 21st century learning, you will need of many tools. like techniques and theories. First, the teacher has to prepare students to be active citizens in a diverse, highly digital and technological rich global society. So the teacher can use the International Society for Technology in Education and the National Education Technology Standards to be able to effectively leverage technology for learning. Second, change theory. It is the foundation of which your transformation to a 21st century teaching and learning environment rests. Third, you have to understand that people are immersed in technology all the time, even students. So, your job as a change agent is to use technology to engage your students with the academic content, and we are required to teach them. Furthermore, in this book, we are going to find many useful tools, but it is possible to think about the time. For that, Chapter 4 teaches you to select a better tool for you. Finally, organization of data. It will help you in the process of change your classroom and your school from the implementation of a 21st century teaching and learning environment. After that, the teacher will use the data in these 5 tools in the process of creating a 21st century teaching and learning environment. The first one, needs analysis. The second one, prioritizing needs.
Some of the most important concepts of this book are 21st century learning, 21st century students, and 21st century technology. It's important to understand that in 21st century learning has been defined in different ways. Also, 21st century learning is the recognition that the students need to have both knowledge and skills that help us to develop and be successful in society and technology. This means that the students must be able to master content, knowledge, and be able to demonstrate competence in a higher order of thinking. It also means that the students are critical thinkers who are capable of solving complex problems using creativity and collaborative approaches. 21st century learning is as much or more than how to learn or think, or about how the students learn or think about. 21st century students. As teacher, we have to know that each student is totally different. Each student has different ways of learning, behavior, needs, feelings. That's why we have to implement different activities to create a different way of learning. 21st century technology. As teacher, we have to take advantage of that. Technology is one of the most important and essential tools nowadays. We can use some social networks to share information with our students.
One of the main assumptions underlying the author's thinking is that students from the previous generations already used to use some technological tools as a need for educational development, while students from the actual generations see these tools as indispensable for their learning. In this book, the author explains to us that technological tools like cell phones, tablets, computers, and so forth are very important implements that we should take advantage of in our teaching and learning process, but that we don't have to abuse their use or make them indispensable for our learning process. In other words, we should use technology as an important help, not as a must or an obligation for our learning. Another assumption underlying the author's thinking is that we are not obliged to master all the technological tools that we may use. It means that we don't need to know how to use all of the technological tools available for the learning and teaching process, but we can at least be able to use some of them. As far as we know how to use them and how to take advantage of them, it is okay. With this book, the author reminds us that 21st century skills are all about learning with technology, not about it.
Share our thoughts and expectations of teaching junior high school students. Teaching junior high school students will be our second goal to achieve in Licenciatura del Idioma Inglés, opción enseñanza. So we have some thoughts and expectations about that. For example, we know that teach teenagers is not easy at all because teenagers' minds are so complex that it's difficult to understand even for their owners. However, we expect that we can be a good teacher for our students, so we want to be a model for them, not only someone who speaks in front of them. Furthermore, to speak English for people who do not understand require much patience, energy, and communication. For that, all of us will do our best to transmit our knowledge to the new generation of students. We are sure that we will be able to achieve our goals in this new road, which is to be a teacher.
After reading this book, we as teachers conclude that the focus of Chapter 1 is on opportunities for authentic student-centered learning in which technology is a tool we learn with, not about. Chapter 1 also explains to us that ISTE and P21st are organizations that we, as a change agent, should be familiar with and are able to talk about with confidence. Chapter 2 tells us that in education we deal with people, and people are creatures of habits. And also that change is a process that doesn't happen overnight. As long as you are still moving toward your goal, you are right on track. Besides, in Chapter 3, we conclude that as students use technology all the time, they want us to engage them with academic content. We are required to teach them. In Chapter 4, we conclude that it is completely acceptable to not be proficient at every technological tool or application. The 21st century skills are all about learning with technology, not about it. And at least, but not less important, Chapter 5 tells us that in our classroom, school, or district, everything we do should be centered on 21st century skills, tools, and the pedagogical approaches to promote them.